When you think about getting ready for a healthy pregnancy, you're probably picturing that first prenatal visit, right? You know, the one after you get a positive test. But what if I told you the most critical time for a baby's development is actually over before most women even have that appointment? Yeah, let's get into it.
So let's start with a number that might just blow you away. In the United States, almost half of all pregnancies aren't planned. 50%. Now, that one statistic is exactly why we're talking about this today. It completely changes the game from pregnancy prep being just for people who are actively trying to something that's a key part of healthcare for anyone who might become pregnant someday.
And this quote right here, this really hits at the core of the problem. Organogenesis. It's a fancy word, but it just means the time when a baby's major organs are forming. We're talking the brain, the heart, the spinal cord, all the big stuff. And this all happens in the first few weeks, a lot of times before you even know for sure that you're pregnant. So by the time you go in for that first 8 or 10-week appointment, that critical window has pretty much slammed shut. You see the gap in our usual way of doing things?
So, how do we close that gap? Well, the answer is this amazing shift in thinking called preconception care. It's all about flipping the script, moving from being reactive to being proactive. And when you see it side by side, the difference is just crystal clear. Traditional care is reactive, right? It kicks in during pregnancy and deals with problems as they come up. But preconception care, that's proactive. It starts before a pregnancy ever begins, with the whole goal of getting your health in the best possible shape to stop those risks from even showing up. It's a total game changer. And here's the official definition from the CDC. Notice it's not an appointment, it's a set of interventions. It looks at everything, your physical health, your habits, your social situation, all to give you and your future family the absolute healthiest start possible. You know, it's like building a house. You wouldn't just start throwing up walls, right? No, you'd lay the strongest, most solid foundation you possibly could first. That's what this is.
Okay, so what does one of these pre-pregnancy checkups actually look like? It's really not as scary or complicated as it might sound. Let's break down what actually happens.
Really, it's just a thorough conversation about you. First, you'll dive into your health history, any conditions you have, meds you're on, even your family's genetic background. Second, you'll talk about lifestyle stuff, what you eat, how you move, and any use of tobacco or alcohol. Third, it's all about prevention, getting the right lab tests and making sure your shots are up to date. And finally, and this is the best part, you create a real plan together. This is where you talk about things like starting folic acid and mapping out what you want for your future. Now, this all sounds great, I know, but the big question is, does it really make a difference? And the answer from the data is a resounding yes. This proactive approach isn't just a nice idea, it has a massive, measurable impact. Okay, I know a table with numbers can make your eyes glaze over, but stick with me, because this is incredible. Odds ratio is just a fancy way of showing risk. All you need to know is that any number below 1 is great news. It means the risk went down. And look at these numbers. For every single major complication, the risk dropped a lot.
Let me put this in perspective. That 0.298 for preterm birth, that means women who had preconception care were about 70% less likely to have their baby born too early. 70%! That is a monumental reduction in one of the biggest risks for newborns. That's a huge deal.
And it's the same story for low birth weight. The data shows about a 60% drop in risk for having a low birth weight baby. Again, this is an incredible improvement that gives babies a much stronger and healthier start to life.
And get this, even the really simple things can have a massive impact. Other studies have found that just focusing on nutrition, like making sure women get enough folic acid and iron before they even conceive, can reduce the risk of neonatal mortality by as much as 40%. It just goes to show you that these small proactive steps can have truly life-saving results. So when you zoom out, you start to see that this is so much bigger than just one person's doctor's visit. Promoting preconception health is actually a major public health strategy for building a healthier society, literally from the ground up.
And you can see that bigger vision in these goals from the CDC. It's about educating everyone, making sure all women can actually get these services, helping those who've had tough pregnancies before, and this is so important, closing the gaps in health outcomes that we know exist between different communities. This makes the pre-pregnancy checkup more than just a good idea. It's a national health priority.
So, I'll just leave you with this question. We make plans for everything important in our lives, don't we? Our education, our careers, our finances. If planning is so fundamental to all our biggest goals, what on earth could be more important than planning for the healthiest possible start for a new human being?
This checkup isn't just another doctor's visit. It's the very first step in planning for that future.